Man, just goes to show you the price of fame is not easy, and people will do whatever they can to get it, even if that means selling their soul. Welcome back, y'all, to the DeAndre Way. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate y'all for coming through. And today, we are going through the new Netflix docu-series, Dancing for the Devil. And this was I was just looking at on Netflix trying to figure out something new to watch and whatnot. I'm like, I want to see what's popping. And I see this dancing thing in TikTok, and I was like, okay, I dance and I do TikTok, so let me check it out. And I get on here, and the first thing is like, man, these people look familiar. Like I know I definitely have seen these people before online. And next thing I know, I see this guy Slavic. It's Slavic is his name on Instagram, and I was like, that dude, I know that dude. I see him all the time on my TikTok. I follow this dude, and I was like, what is going on? I was confused, and to find out that the crazy story behind this is all these people are essentially in this cult thing, and that people have been following on Instagram. I've been seeing all their videos since COVID times when they really started popping off. I've been to their pages. I seen the 7M stuff before. I was having like a freak moment for a second because I was like, yo, I seen all this in the past before. I was tripping. I thought I was tripping, and I was just like, what is going on? And then after watching this whole thing with the cults and the management and the church, and I was just like, bruh, if this ain't Holly Weird in a nutshell, what is? So I could relate to an extent to some of these, to a lot of the stuff that was being spoken about. It was just crazy how much it kind of hit home a little bit. Not that I was a part of a cult or anything like that, but just because I'm familiar with the industry, the dance industry, as well as I ain't gonna call a cult industry, but going to church and then them trying certain churches trying to push you a certain way and get you to believe a certain thing. I was a part of something like that in the past, but I got out way before I got sucked in. It was like I seen it, I was like I'm out, but we'll get there. But yeah, y'all, this docu series was very interesting, very alarming. It hit a lot of points that I repeatedly said over the past couple of years that I've been saying about the industry, and I say the industry as in the entertainment industry, to where there's a lot of toxic, terrible things inside. And the things that people are willing to do to get to the top or get a little bit of clout or get the fame, it's endless. People will they will travel across the halfway across the world for an opportunity. They will pay X amount of dollars to potentially be seen by a certain casting director or photographer or choreographer. They will do whatever ever they need to do to get the job or get to where they need to be in their career. They will sell everything out, including their family, it seems. And in the industry, you are asked a lot to work on certain days that you might have a family funeral or a birthday or a wedding or something along those lines that you just have to accept missing. Like I've missed a plethora of a few Christmases, birthdays, family celebrations, weddings, which sucks. It sucks being in the industry because you can't just call off like, hey, I can't be here because it is, unless it's an emergency, like someone's dying, then you got to be there. And all actors, dancers, entertainers know that that's just part of the business that you're in. You know, you don't get paid leave. There really is none of that. You have to be there or else you won't get paid, and then the rent won't get paid, and then you're gonna be out of luck and place to live. And so it's a cutthroat business, it's a cutthroat world, and it's a cutthroat life, but you do it for the love of it. You do it because you like it or you love it. You do it because you have a goal in mind that you want to reach. You was dreaming about this since you was a little kid. You have a vision for yourself, and we're always told it takes a lot of sacrifice to get there and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and you kind of just got to do a lot of things to get there. Now, when you first get in the business, a lot of people, they're willing to do whatever it takes, but as you get older, you realize that it's not everything. It's a lot, and you want to do your best and try and get there, but at what cost? And a lot of it is, a big cost, a financial cost, because you're not making consistent money. A lot of it is, you know, uh, wellness, as in like mental wellness, being away from your family, sacrifice because you got to be away a lot. I mean, a lot of people travel to New York, LA, Atlanta, etc. to go for these things. They have to be away. And if you're not from those areas, or and your family can't travel there often, then you're gonna be on your own a lot. So that's a lot. But I'm getting ahead. But my point is, it was crazy. I see kind of both sides to a certain extent, but we'll get there one step at a time. But yeah, y'all, this Netflix show, Dancing with the Devil. There's three parts. Each is roughly an hour. Part one, Die to Yourself. Part two, The Escape. Part three, Reap What You Sow. Each one covers different things. Part three kind of sums everything up, of course. But yeah, y'all, we gonna get into it because it was interesting. It was very interesting. But we get introduced to the Wilking family. We meet Dean Wilking, the father. We meet Kelly Wilking, the mother. Kelly, yeah, Kelly. Melanie Wilking, who is basically the narrator, essentially, of the whole thing. This whole family it centers kind of around them and them getting this thing started. But they have a sister. Her sister is named Miranda Wilking, and they grew up together, dancing their whole life. They're really good too. They should be on Broadway or something like that, but they're really, really good. I've seen these girls on Instagram before. I've seen Miranda a lot. I haven't really seen Melanie, but Miranda, I recognize her because her blonde hair now. And I was like, I definitely recognize her because she's always dancing with the people that I see on Instagram, Slavic in particular, which was interesting. I mean, I guess none of the people who's part of the cult decided to say anything, but he's probably the most recognizable out of anybody on the docuseries. I mean, he's been on a lot of things online, and the algorithm seems to love him per se. I mean, he's from Ukraine too, so his family moved here a long time ago, and he was on, I think, believe So You Think You Can Dance and whatnot. But definitely, he was the one that most people probably would recognize easily, just because it was a very distinct look. But yes, Melanie, who is one of the sisters, and yeah, she basically, goes through her trials and tribulations with her sister and how they grew up great and they moved out to LA for the dream and things are going great. Pop an Instagram page, TikTok page with the Wilkins sisters doing the TikTok dances, which I think a lot of TikTok dances is a little sus to me. I've never got into it. I'm a dancer, but I wasn't about to do the TikTok dances. That's just not my thing. But hey, do people do what they want to do? It's fine. It just seems a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for me. But hey, it is what it is. That's just my POV. But yeah, they got real popular on it. Brand deals, this, that, and the third, and then all of a sudden she goes AWOL to go to this church. And my thought on that part was, look, there's obviously things we're not gonna get from this documentary. We're not gonna get her side of the picture, which is very important. I always trying to paint a picture, and I wish you can get opposing points of view. And one person from this church would have spoken out or something. But the fact that they all declined, it speaks volumes. Not one person accepted. Now, there's former members that accepted, and their words are the most important I think you should take from this. I think they have the biggest viewpoint of both sides, so they can see why someone would join. They give you that, and they can see why someone would leave and not join. But like I said, as I relate back, it's hard out here in the entertainment business. You don't have a lot of money because you don't have a stable job because you're always trying to book the next gig and whatnot. So if you have an opportunity to get in front of a high camera or a high quality camera that costs $2,000, $3,000, you have someone who's going to edit the videos. You have someone that's going to get together to post it. The videos are done really well, but it's a lot of time and effort to go into those, especially doing yourself. Just press record. It won't look nearly as good as the ones that they do. And check out the Instagram page. We'll get there soon to see what it looks like. But yeah, y'all, it's definitely a process that goes into it. It's not just click record on your phone and post. It's a little more than that for these people because they add special effects and whatnot in the third. So somebody doing all that extra background work for you saves a lot of time, energy, and yeah, who wouldn't want to do it? But when it comes with the extra stuff, then that's when you got to kind of question: is it worth it? That's always a question I ask before I do any kind of job: is it worth it? And if the answer is no, and usually you have to ask the question twice, then it's probably a no. But yeah, you got to ask yourself, is it literally worth it? Forget the money. Is the money enough for it to overcome all the extra stuff that you got to do? So, but yes, we meet a few of the dancers. One is this guy named Concrete. Uh, he was James Derrick best friend. Who's James Derrick? I'm gonna get into him in a second. But we meet Concrete, Miss Kalia Gray, the girl with the bob Ice Spice looking haircut, except it's blonde instead of red. Kylie Douglas, who actually took a class with her once. Aubrey Fisher, who I've seen on Instagram a lot. Lawrence Reno. So Lawrence Reno is a parent. His son Nick is in the Shekinah group. His wife Migdalia Reno. We meet Andrea Marks, who's a Rolling Stone reporter. Melanie Lee, who is a former Shekinah member, who's way back in the day, like 2003, I think she started. She got out in 2011. Felicia Lee, who was in Shekinah for 23 years in this cult, which is crazy. Good Lord, but that's what the cults do. Marquis, Mar, Marquis, Marquis Richardson. He helped Melanie escape from the church, and those are all our narrators from the show. We have about 9 of them, 9, 10 of them. But yeah, we have those ones, and we get started in there, and they're explaining on why they would go in the first place because it seems innocent and whatnot. Dinners, yeah, no problem. I would say if you're an actor and you hungry, go get some food. But once these churches, because I've been to a church, I'm a sub segue off real quick. I've been to a church once to where they invited me. I went, okay. It was about a 3-hour service. After the church service was over, I was ready to go home. They're like, hey, do you want to eat? We're having brunch. I was like, hell yeah, I want to have brunch. And I was like, okay, so we ate brunch. Well, then not the pastors, the missionaries came with us, ate, and right after when I'm done, about to put my plate in the sink, I'm like, all right, y'all, I'm out. Hey, would you want to, do some Bible study? And I'm like, I was at church for 3 hours already, but they just fed me, so I feel bad. So I was like, all right, I'll stay for a little bit longer. How long it'll take? Just 30 minutes. It took an hour long. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm done. Finally, I can go home. They're like, oh, well, would you want to watch this movie? I'm like, a movie about what? They're like, oh, just the resurrection of Christ. And I'm just like, okay, how long is the movie? And they're like, 30 minutes. The movie's 45 minutes long. I'm just like, ugh. So then it's finally time to go home. The movie's over with. Oh, well, do you want to stay for dinner? I was like, yo, come on, coach. I got to go home. I'm like, look, y'all, I got to go. I can't stay here no longer. They're like, well, what about this week? Do you want to do Bible study this week? I was like, dang, y'all, what is happening? They had me, y'all. They had me in a bind. But they're real kind. They're not going to, I ain't going to say it was a cult. It was a certain denomination of a church. I ain't going to say which one, but you can probably guess. But my point is, they give you nice gestures. They're very kind people when it comes to these new age cults, and they ease you in slowly. I guess they knew a brother was hungry. And, I eventually ended up going to that church for, I think, a month. And then they ended up trying to, like, baptize me. And I was just like, no. Because I talked to my parents about it. I was in high school at the time, too. But they tried to do all that. And I was like, look, y'all, thank you. I appreciate you. You guys are great. But this ain't for me. I'm not about to convert to your faith. And they didn't really get the message for years. I kept getting calls at them all the time because they're worldwide, obviously. And I just kind of saw summarizing that up, it's a couple of my really, really close friends were a part of this group, and I trusted them. And yeah, I could see how some people could get sucked into it. Now, if they started like in high school, I was a football star, and if they got me offers to go to certain schools and they were hooking it up and the NFL scouts started coming in, yeah, they might have converted me. I'm not gonna lie. Because when someone dangles something in front of you enticingly, and then they keep adding to that and adding to that and making it bigger and bigger and bigger, then it's hard to say no, especially something that you want desperately. That's why I don't 100% look at these people getting into this cult and be like, how could you ever do that and fall for that and this and that? Well, the dude is giving them thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, some millions. And this is what they wanted. They're getting paid off these ads. Now they're getting all the money stripped from him. And when the money strip stuff cards coming on, I'm like, I'm out because y'all not about to take all this money away from me. Because what you doing? I mean, if you ain't getting paid and you're just doing it for the love of it, at a certain point, the rubber got to meet the road and you got to hit a crossroads. But I mean, eventually 30% of, or 60 to 70% of what they're making is going to this dude, which that would have been enough. I would have had to, my first check, I'm like, nah, y'all, I was supposed to get paid $30,000 and I get paid five. That ain't happening. That is not happening. So the money part is where I really would have been up out of there. And then just the way that they said they were getting spoken to and how they had to, like, the girl said she was at the airport to pick up her friend and they wanted her at the church right now and it was like a bad thing. I was like, nah, nobody at a young age you can be impressionable, I will say, and you can be very naive to these things. So I understand you got to put yourself back in your like 19, 20-year-old mindset about how naive you were, how susceptible you were to things, and just imagine the thing that you want most, whether that be a Maserati or you want to be in a professional sports league or you want to be running for president, whatever it is, that is accessible due to being a part of a group and they're just saying you got to do these things and then you will get what you want. It's the forbidden fruit. It's hard to say no, you know? And I mean, it's ironic, because they talk about that in the Bible, but yeah, I see both points of view of it. But that's as far as it goes, I think, for me when it comes to being successful. Because, like I said, once the money starts getting taken away, once you start saying I can't see my family, once you start putting restrictions on what I can and can't do, I don't care how much money you giving me. I don't care what you offer me. I don't care if you give me 500,000 followers. If you say I can't talk to my family anymore, it's not worth it. And the people who are worth it, which it seems like these people don't care and have no ground to stand on, they fall for anything, so they'll stand for nothing. They don't care. They don't care. They'll do it because they're lost in their own sauce. And it's sad to see because a lot of people are like that and a lot of people will fall for that. And that's exactly what the Colts want. Whew. Crazy, y'all. Crazy. But anywho, we gonna do some little we gonna do some little inspections on the characters, like I said, and the show. We're going to go to this website called thedirect.com, and we'll meet the people, and we'll go through how I feel about each and every one of them. So, here's this website. We got the two sisters up front. And, yes, it says, Dance with the Devil, the cult features shocking revelations from a cast of dancers and personalities, blah, 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 blah. We get the first guy, Dean Wilking. Dean Wilking is Melanie and Miranda's father and a teacher. He's a teacher? Because they seem like they got a lot of money. Because they taking all these flights to LA and back from Detroit and this, that, and the third and whatnot. I don't know if he's, got so many doctorate degrees being a teacher. He's making a lot of money or something like that, but I don't know. They have a nice house too. They seem like they got some money. But anyways, and all those dance classes, they're not cheap. But yes, opens up his concerns over the 7M management and the Shekinah Church. Dancing with the Devil shows Dean's efforts to try and contact Miranda since the church prohibits him from getting near her and returning home. In August 2021, Dean and Kelly were shocked to learn that Miranda and James are getting married, and they found it out on social media. So the whole getting married thing, that is out of pocket. That's completely out of this girl. I'm going to say this girl Miranda. We're going to get on this girl Miranda first. I'm going to go in on her. So this girl who's gotten everything she wanted in life up to this point. Pretty girl, dance classes, good family. Like, you got everything that money can't buy. And that's why, I mean, Hollywood, the allure of that does, play some mind games on you to, like, say that, you could have even everything. But at the sacrifice of what? And she sacrificed everything, her family. Nothing in her life will ever be the same with her family. No matter if she comes back and apologizes and accepts everything or not, they're always going to have that in the back of her mind, like, oh, she could go again. She out of here. So I think my personal point of view, where the separation came from, could have been, I mean, I don't know her at all, but their family just explained in the documentary how she just was a normal kid and now she just completely changed. Is she was one of those people who just wanted the highest of the high at no matter what cost. She was willing to do whatever it takes, which is a good thing at some point. Like, you're willing to do whatever it takes to be the best. I got you. She's an amazing dancer. But she didn't care the cost. She was willing to risk it all. And she did that. And those type of people are very, dangerous because they'll stomp anyone out in their way. And I've met some people like that who don't care. They don't care. Even her own flesh and blood. It's crazy out here. I mean, the big part of her, changing her identity up and just looking like a completely different person. I'm surprised she didn't change her name, to be honest. But it was this kind of, those people are scary. And look, I don't think her family should, I give them praise for trying and whatnot and going after her and whatnot. But I don't know. I don't have children, but it'd be hard pressed for me to take the road they did to go get her, because I might have had some other tactics that wouldn't have been so kind. And if that would have ran them off, I had to take that chance because I'm not about to let nobody do that now. I believe they raised her fine because their other daughter seems, she seems very well level-headed. She seems great, and I don't know where the cutoff came from. I mean, the older child does usually have a harder time with certain things, and maybe she was going through some things that we don't know about because we did not get her point of view. Which I'll get. She did make a statement, which we'll watch in a minute. But yeah, I think that she just wanted to be at the most top, the best dancer in the world, the most popular, well-known dancer. And she found a way that could possibly do that, as well as the brainwashing. Once they tell you a bunch of things, she's definitely brainwashed, for sure. Like, I'm convinced of that. There's no other plausible explanation that she's not. But yeah, she was just in a mindset of saying, I don't care what it takes. And then if a family members see that someone in their family is willing to do all those things, I hate to say it, but sometimes you just got to let them go. It's not, I mean, I've had to let a lot of people go who openly disrespect me, act like they don't care about me, my well-being, anything like that. No remorse, no effort to fix things at all. Even family. I've had to let them go. Eventually, some people do come back. Some people do. And I'm not saying that's the answer of what to do. I'm just saying how I go about things. But I praise them for making the efforts and whatnot and trying to figure out what's going on. Because I think they really just want to know the reason, which I do want to know the reason as well. And once they get the reason and she says, look, I just want this and I don't want anyone to get in my way. If she just tells them that, I think they'll be like, okay, like, we're out. This is what she wanted. But she just left them with nothing. And that can make someone go crazy. It's just like breaking up with someone and them never getting the reason why you broke up with them. Well, they're going to go crazy because if you don't know the reason why, then what happened? Things were so great. Things were amazing. And all of a sudden, you're gone for what? That's why it's bad to ghost people, y'all. Don't ghost people, especially if you had a rapport and relationship with them. Give them that common decency, because that'll make people go mad and crazy. And no telling what they would do, especially if things seemed fine and dandy. So that's what time they're on. We'll get to the mother now. Here we go. Kelly Wilking, as the mother of Melanie and Miranda, Kelly Wilking reveals how her two daughters' pursuit of their dream of dancing allowed them to grow closer together. She also reflects on how Miranda consistently chooses her passion over anything in her life. So that's what I just said. She chooses her passion over anything in her life. Though that sentence right there is jarring because she's going to choose her career over her family. She gave herself the answer. Now I think she just wants to hear it from Miranda or Miranda herself, and that'll, be all she needs. But I don't think Miranda has said that. And yeah, I mean, at this point, her actions are speaking louder than her words. But it's crazy. It's crazy out here. I feel for the parents, man. That sucks. You got two daughters, beautiful daughters. One of them went AWOL for no reason, and you're just trying to find a solution. And you can't get it. I mean, at least she's still alive. I thought this move. This is going to take a right turn, hard one for a different matter. But she's still alive, and the brainwashing and the cults are real. Definitely, people can, especially when it comes to church. People can become whole different people. I'm sure everyone has someone in their life who they know who maybe in high school they were kind of a not the best student. They got into drugs, they smoked this, that, and the third, like smoked cigarettes. Um, they just were not doing the most positive of things. And then all of a sudden, maybe like a year or two later after high school, they got involved in a church and they became saved and they completely changed 180 of a person and they're no longer the same. And they're doing like the right thing by Jesus now. And they just seem so different. But back in high school, they were just this troublesome person. Now, change for good, I'd say, but kind of just a change that's so radical that they just don't seem like the same person. Y'all ever had anybody like that? Because I have several people I know like that. Look, I have a friend from high school who wasn't like a druggie or anything like that. Well, he did do drugs, but anyways, he was a athlete as myself. We played football together, and he got like saved and whatnot, and super like went super religious in church, and everything he talks about relates to God, and it can be a little tiring at times. Like I'm spiritual. I wouldn't say I'm the most religious, but I'm spiritual. Uh, but when people change like that, it's just like, are you good? Like, are you okay? And a lot of churches will make you do that. Will make certain people do that because they want to throw everything else away for to go to heaven and Jesus and all that stuff. Which positive reasons, of course, everyone wants to go to heaven, but what price are you gonna pay to get rid of all the sinners in your life? Exile yourself and your family? I don't know. I don't know, y'all. But we're going to get to Melanie Wilking. Melanie is one half of the Wilking sisters, serves as the anchor of the documentary, talks about how her sibling is whisked away by an invite-only church that turns out to be an alleged dance cult. The dance cult thing is kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie. A dance cult. Uh, that's just, I ain't never heard nothing like that. But she opens up about her relationship with her sister Miranda, becomes strained after she joined the 7M management. So I have seen 7M on Instagram before. They're gone now, though. They're not on their pages anymore, which I checked when I was watching the documentary. And so, yes, that's a whole thing about the Wilking family. They say, throughout the documentary, they finally are able, she exiles them, but then, they make a statement that goes viral and Miranda gets put on blast. And these church leaders smart. I'm going to give him that. He's smart. He tells like, go spend time with your family. As long as you know you ain't gonna divulge back into them, then you still good with the church. Just do that so they can get off our back. She does that, shows face. So, and their family says that she just has no kind of emotion about her. She seems like a different person. And the church dude was probably like, look, this is what's gonna happen, and this is what we need to do to get them off our back. You still want to go to heaven, right? She's like, yeah. You still want to have your dance career, right? Yeah. You still want to have these millions of followers, right? Yeah. Well, without me, that's not going to be possible. Look at you, how you were before, and look at where you are now. Did your family do that? Did your sister do that? Were your parents able to do that? No, they weren't, because they not one with Christ and Jesus and all these other things. And he did all these things and repeated sayings and repeated results. Well, repeat. My bad, y'all. Somebody calling me on my phone. I thought it was important, but anyways, let's get back to it. But yeah, somebody can present you all these things, and then once you keep repeating it, and they've been right on things like, yeah, he was right about helping her out and probably increase her following by so much, and that's what she ultimately wanted, and she doesn't want to give that up for anybody or anything. I mean, I'm sure if they said leave your husband, he's a sinner, she would have left her husband too. Like if he left the church. I mean, at what point is she gonna just wake up from this dream, this daydream, I guess she's having? But anywho, she goes and sees them, and then she plays nice, and obviously, like, I was like, okay, well, she went back to her family and saw her, but her family isn't satisfied with that. They want her to just kind of like tell them why she left and talk about the church, and she won't do that. And she tells them, she gives them an ultimatum: if you talk about the church or anything like that again, I'm out. I'm never coming back. I'm never speaking to you. And her family, which this is where I disagree with the family, her family agrees to those terms and they agree to see her, but they won't ever bring it up. So they got to act like nothing happened. You know, it's trouble when you have a situation with your family or people you living with where there's issues going on and they don't talk about them because then they can just get worse and worse and worse and worse. And one side has those agreements and they're fine with that and they're okay to live their life by that and they're okay to go about their way with just having things be awkward, but the family doesn't want that. They're tired of it, and I don't blame them. You know, it's important if there's an issue of the person who, aka Miranda, who's causing these things, to be okay with talking about it or even bring it up. And if she doesn't even bring it up, then that speaks volumes in itself because she truly does not care. That's like somebody coming over, somebody living with, dirtying up the house. You clean it up as their roommate per se, and it's just never being brought up. Like they didn't say thank you, they didn't help you clean up. They didn't. It was like it never happened, and it keeps happening again and again and again and again. Eventually, you're gonna get fed up and tired, and you be like, "What's popping?" Well, I don't want to talk about it. No, no, I see. No, that's toxic. That's toxic as hell. And eventually, you're gonna have to do either get out or berate them about it. But then you got to live in a toxic environment. So I say the get out part is a better choice per se. That's just me. But unless you want that drama, you want that smoke, and willing to deal with them. I mean, be careful with people, y'all. If y'all confront people, because people nowadays are crazy. They will do some heinous things. So just proceed with caution. But that's what time she on, and the family, they're just in this weird limbo right now. I think the family needs to just stop talking to her. They've seen her. I know her parents don't want to lose her again and whatnot, but they have another beautiful daughter and she has a family, or she just got married, and I think that would serve everyone best because they're just putting more harm in their heart, in their lives by parading around this subject and topic and alluding to it ever existing. When she walks out the door, that's the first thing they bring up. Like, dang, we ain't gonna talk about it, but we want to see her again. And they gotta just put their foot down, unless they're okay with living like that. I couldn't do it, but hey, if they could do it, they can do it. But anywho, we get a statement from Miranda, which we're gonna listen to, about how she feels about the whole entire situation and the documentary.
I just wanted to add my side of the story a little bit. Thank you so much for taking a read.
All right.
Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I just wanted to hop on here really quick and first of all say thank you so much to everybody who's been so supportive during this time. In the next couple slides, I've included my statement of this documentary that's just been released. I can't go into too much detail because of legal purposes, but I just wanted to add my side of the story a little bit. Thank you so much for taking a read. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, so we're gonna read this real quick. She posted this on Instagram, uh, I believe yesterday. Hey everyone, just wanted to hop on here and say that I have seen the documentary. I want to start by saying that I appreciate the concern that has been expressed for my well-being. Due to pending litigation in which I am a plaintiff in a defamation lawsuit, so she's suing her family, it's not appropriate for me to comment on specific allegations, though I will state that I do not condone abuse in any way. So I don't know if she's getting sexually abused or anything like that. I don't think so. Who knows? I don't know. Look. She could be or not. I don't know. I don't know. I cannot speak for anyone else but myself. I love my mom, dad, and Melanie, and they will forever be a part of my life. Will they? Because you exiled them. Is that what you were saying then too? Interesting. The truth is, we just don't see eye to eye at this time. What time did you see eye to eye? It was prior to COVID. I know that. Okay. I believe that this documentary is a one-sided story. Well, it's one-sided because you chose not to give your point of view, Miranda. You can't be upset that it's one-sided because you said no to it. That's on you, sweetie. You gotta wake up and smell them, and wake up and face the music. And if they're gonna ask you to do this, you should say, "Yeah, I want to give my side of the story." It's Netflix too. You last I checked, you wasn't on Netflix, so you missed out. You missed out. I gave my life to Jesus Christ in 2020 and asked my family for some space in the very beginning to collect my thoughts and process in my new walk I wanted to take with God. Did you ask? Did you ask? Because according to your family, you didn't ask. You just went AWOL and said you were going to, this church, and that was it. So I don't know if you asked for some space, because I feel like they would have said that, but unless the family's lying, did you ask for space or not? I don't know if you did. Um, space. I wanted to ask for space. I also told my sister that I wanted to continue our Wilking Sister social media page. She logged me out of our account, and when I asked for access back, she denied my request. So I wonder why she logged you out. Did she log you out because you had to take your break and you were acting crazy? So she was worried that if you were logged back in, you were going to delete all the videos which brought her money in? So you're not about to mess up her bag. That's what she said. You already deleted all your old videos. So now you want to delete y'all videos together. I don't blame her for not letting you inside the account. How can she trust you at this point? Did she ever ask the question, well, why did she not give me the account information? Why is she not letting me back in? Because you deleted all your videos. And this account is making money. Even if we aren't consistently posting, I've been running it by myself for X amount of months without you. So you know you're not allowed until you tell me what's going on. Duh. This statement is so silly. So I had no other choice but to start my own account and pursue my own career. You did that on your own because you exiled yourself from your sister and stopped hanging out with her. I mean, what is she supposed to do? Oh, here you go. Like nothing happened. Next thing you know, she logs you out and all your videos are gone. Then what she got to show for it? This documentary wouldn't have all the videos in. We wouldn't be able to see none of that stuff. She wouldn't able to see like, girl, stop it. You sound stupid. My family didn't honor the space I asked for, and I saw a very different side of them I've never seen before. They saw a very different side of you that they've never seen before. I wonder why you saw this different side, because that's fine if you want some space, but you're not calling your own mother and father. You're not telling them where you're going. You're not telling them what they're doing. You got married without even talking to them. I don't blame them for acting different. Honestly, it made me mad and frustrated and annoyed that they were being so overbearing and chaotic. Sounds like a spoiled brat teenager. Sounds like she got everything she wanted growing up, and she's rebelling now. It's a rebellious phase, but she's taking it to the extreme. Those are words that are. She's being over exaggerated in this statement, saying overbearing and chaotic. I don't think they're being chaotic. I think they're being parents, a good parents at that, because they're worried about their daughter. I mean, if they were being chaotic, then they probably would have came and burned the church down. They probably would have came and grabbed you up and took you home and kidnapped you to bring you home or something like that. They was just coming to see how you were doing and calling you and texting you. That's overbearing. No. In 2020, I went to Michigan to visit my family for Christmas. My papa was taken to the hospital due to medical issues. We got a phone call saying that he had a short time before he would pass. Melanie and I drove to the hospital to say our last goodbyes. Before we went in the hospital to do so, I started to pray for our papa in the car, and Melanie got offended and angry with me and told me to stop and never to pray around her. Our papa passed away that day. So she was there when he died, but she didn't go to the funeral. Interesting. Um, well, maybe she's upset that you're praying because you never prayed before, and now you're saying what you're praying is fine. But she saw this is after all this stuff has been going down, and she knows you're ultra quote unquote religious now because of this church, and she ain't trying to hear none of that right now. Where her grandfather just died, she just wants to just go in there, give him his respect, and leave. But you're adding to this new act that you are and have been doing, and so she's like, nah, forget all that praying. We ain't doing all that right here. We ain't doing all that. And then you're like, why would you not let me do it? Because you acting different and disrespecting him. So
And
she
so supportive
she's
during this, so
ooh,
much to everybody
let
who's
me
during this time.
sorry. I meant to fast forward it to the second part. And then we get to the second part of the statement saying this. That isn't the second part. Hold on. Is this the second part of the statement? I can't even see it. Why isn't this going to the second part of the statement, Coach? I guess we gotta wait. Why isn't the second part of the statement going through?
Hope you're
All right, whatever, y'all. I'm just gonna read the second part of the statement because it's not popping up on my thing. But I'm just gonna read the second part of the statement. Um, fast forward about a month and actually, let me try one more time. Hold on. We gonna try this. We gonna get this together, y'all. We gonna get this together. Mm. Bear with me with the technical part, y'all. There we go. All right. Maybe I didn't let it run long enough. That's why. Yeah, I didn't let it run long enough. Well, I think I have an alternate solution to this. I'll just read it, y'all. I'll just read it. So, the second part says, fast forward about a month and a half. Melanie and I are in LA, and we're about to head back to Michigan for our papa's funeral. I was at a place where my family where I felt like I was being harassed. My parents and sister were not religious. They immediately called me going to church twice a week, a cult. I think you were going more than twice a week. Maybe you were just doing the church service twice a week, but you were pretty much there every day, probably, and living there, and ignoring your family, and doing other crazy things. I felt that if I went back to the funeral, they would try and keep me there, not let me come back to LA. What? If that was the case, they would have took action before. You think they're gonna kidnap their own daughter? Do you think your family's those type of people? That's you putting those bad projections on them. Crazy. So I told my family that I would not be going to Michigan and that I wanted to move in and begin my life with James. To keep it simple, I did not want to be around them at the time because I felt threatened by them. Wow, you felt threatened by your family. When they seem like such sweet and nice people, you know them better than anybody, whether they wouldn't hurt a fly. I have been getting together with them over the past couple of years to make amends, move on, and work things out as a family under your circumstances, under your reasons and temperament. The documentary has created a further challenge between us as I begin to overcome this public attack. No one likes to be portrayed as they're brainwashed, not in control of their own life, shell of herself, human trafficked, daughter. I don't know if they said you were trafficked. They slowly implied that, but not fully. Sister, when they just isn't the truth. I will add that I would have preferred that my family's circumstances remain private. I'm forced and feel like I have no other choice but to defend myself because of all this. I can't convince anyone to believe anything. I'm just a woman trying to live my life. God. I am not a victim. I am not in any harm. I am not being abused. I have never asked my family or anyone else to help me in any way. Of course you haven't, because you're brainwashed. Respectfully, what I choose to do with my life is up to me. Take the time to process and reflect on the situation. I would appreciate your continued support. That was her statement. Yeah, I don't really take much of that. I mean, it doesn't make sense. She's not making sense. She should release a YouTube video or something to elaborate on the whole situation itself and just let everything be known of how it is and what's really going down. And it's a shame that she's like lost in the sauce. That's all I gotta say. But we'll move on from her. We're gonna get to the next dancer in the film, Concrete. Concrete is James Derrick's best friend and a former member of the 7M management. He, alongside James, joined the World of Dance Championships in 2018. Dancing for the Devil, Concrete addresses the controversy surrounding 7M and this kind of church, with him even calling them a cult. Now, this dude was being transparent. It's not easy to say, oh, I was in this group and it was a cult and this, that, and the third, and I was under the spells and whatnot. Churches don't need to look like witchcraft and wizardry. They don't need to look like covered hoods and candles and dark rooms. They can look like a playground. They can look like Care Bears, And with this dude, his best friend, and I'll get on his best friend. His best friend, James Derrick, got him into this. If y'all haven't seen what James Derrick looked like, he kind of looks a little robotic himself. I've seen him before on Instagram, and He looks like a robot. He looks like one of those dudes who shows no emotion. He does his dance videos. He has no emotion in any of his videos. Zero. You know, we'll get to one of his videos in a minute. But yeah, he's a little freaky looking in revolves to his videos. I'm gonna pull one up just because like I see it and oh, he just posted an Instagram story. Interesting, but yeah, he just seems like a very out of touch brother, and it's sad to see a brother go through these things, man. I mean, I don't know what has gone on. He's a lot older than I thought he was too. He's 35, which I thought he was like 20 something, but apparently, you know, he didn't have any money, and when he joined this group, he had a lot of money after that, which something I found online, allegedly, but oh, allegedly, but yeah, it's what is going on? Oh, Lord have mercy. Um, but yes, it's very sad to kind of see a brother have to go through and deal with those kind of things. I just wish that he would go through it a different way. I won't pull up the video because I think it's I don't want this thing to crash. But this dude, he just seems like a robot. So I believe what this dude Concrete is saying. But we'll continue with the characters from the show. We will go to Miss Kalia Gray. Joining the cast of interviews, Dancing with the Devils, Kayla Gray, Concrete's girlfriend. Kalia talks about her first experience in the dinner/Bible study alongside Robert Shin, noting this is not the vibe I was thinking we were going to do. I feel you, girl. That's not the vibes. The vibes are we gonna go in here, make these videos, kick it, make some money, not do these dinners and prayers and all this other stuff. That extra stuff gets in there. Nah, and that's why she was out. Get to Kylie Douglas, one of the other main narrators. Kylie is Aubrey Fisher's girlfriend, former girlfriend, and a former 7M member. She unpacks her relationship with Aubrey and their ties to Robert Shin's company. Kylie also acknowledges one notable thing that she learned from the Shekinah Church, saying you have to die to your family in order to save them. Come on, y'all. What? Meaning they need to sacrifice for them to go to heaven one day. Despite that lesson, Kylie is heartbroken over the fact that she was required to walk away from her family to help them get to heaven. Y'all, if that ain't a little hogwash, I ain't never heard in my life. If somebody ever tells you to do something like that, you better call the police and get out. Y'all seen the movie Get Out? That's exactly what time zone they on right now. That's exactly what time they on. Crazy. I mean, family, what? And then we meet Aubrey Fisher. I've seen him on Instagram as well. Another former 7 members who opens up at the agency in the docuseries is a famous content creator. He is pretty popping. I will give him that. And I'm glad he got out. He seemed kind of robotic himself, per se. Uh, I wish we got to hear a little more of these people's personal lives and like what ultimately led them and what their goal was. They didn't ask that question. What's your goal? What was your goal? That would have been a good thing to know, just to get the full lowdown on why they decided to do it, but they didn't ask that. Aubrey reveals how his friendship with B Dash and Isaiah Shin led him to 7M, and Shekinah Church also opens about his experiences with the company. We meet Lawrence Rayano. Lawrence is another parent who joins the cast to reveal the story of how they lost their son, Nick, to 7M and Shekinah. Lawrence reveals that his son would tell him that he was away, always busy shooting content. When they reach out to check, he's okay. Nick, you're trash too, ignoring your parents like that, man. You're trash. You're trash. Migdalia, his wife, part one shows the parents calling a human trafficking helpline to see if they can help him. She also makes an effort to send Nick throwback photos and let him know that she always thinks about them. That's sad, honestly, y'all. Like, that's really sad to have your people's parents. I felt really heartbroken for the parents, man, because they paid for these kids' dance classes. They took them to seminars. They took them to conventions. This stuff's not cheap. Look it up, and just them to abandon them just like that for what? For some fame and dollars? People in the industry often get lost in the sauce and they forget what truly matters. I was in a casting last week and the guy was like, look, this is just an audition. Like, it's not the end of the world. Remember what really matters. This is not that important in the grand scheme of things, and just remember that. And when he said that, a lot of people they had to, check themselves. They're like, okay, I don't want to freak out over this thing and lose sleep over this audition when it's just like there's another one every single day. You're gonna kill yourself over these auditions and castings. It's not worth it. Take care of yourself first, because those things will always be there, but your family and your friends won't. Sad, y'all. Just sad. And we meet Andrea Marks. She is a Rolling Stone reporter. Talks about the process of how she covered the story. And she was whatever. Then we meet Melanie Lee. This is a whole different part of the story. So Melanie Lee, a former Shekinah member, joins the cast of interviews to talk about her experience with the church and why she escaped it in 2011. Melanie opens about a nightmarish experience that she had and her path moving forward and leaving everything behind to start fresh at her time with Shekinah. Now, these ladies, Melanie and her sister Felicia, which we'll get to in a sec, they give another point of view on how they was in it back in the day when it was only Asian people. And how this dude was basically raping them and making them modern day subjects. Craziness, y'all. Craziness. I don't know what he was giving them. A home? I don't know what he's giving them because they weren't in the entertainment business, but it was craziness. It was craziness. I don't really know what to make of that part, but other than people got to learn to just know that they can stand on their own feet. They don't need someone else. You know, I'm not to a certain point of the independent woman saying, but I think the people who end up falling for this just don't have, I won't say they don't have the support around them they need because the Merle Miranda did, but I don't know, just something's going on in their head where they feel like they have no other choice. And I think that's a dangerous spot when you feel like you're one option and that's it, and this is the only road you can take to kind of get where you need to get to. That's faith, that's lack of faith in yourself. And you got to really look in the mirror and be like, look, I got it. I can do it. Not, I don't have it and this is all I got. So it was an interesting part just to see like the past and how it kind of joined together and how the guy Robert did get caught up and he has a history, you know, of sexual abuse, and he's still out there doing his thing. But it's like I said, they say with adults, it's hard to get that with adults instead of minors. But then we meet her sister Felicia Lee, a longtime member of the Shekinah Church for 23 years, who also left the church. She's Melissa's sister. Felicia joins the conversation by acknowledging the fact that she had a hard time as a member of the church. Felicia reveals that one of the teachings from Shekinah is a member will go to hell if he or she leaves the church. Oh, God. A bunch of hogwash, y'all. Just believing these things is kind of crazy to me. To me, as someone who would never kind of just like go to a stranger and then tell me all these things. I'm like, oh, you're the truth, you're the savior. Last I checked, God ain't got no middleman. It's just your relationship with God. It's not he's going to send a person down to relay his message. Well, he's send a person down to be the middleman and be like, okay, this is what God's going to think of you if you do this. No, that's not really what I thought it was. Yes, there's people who relay God's word and practice his speech, but no, they are no better than the person next to them. They are no better. So why does someone think that they should listen and obey someone when they should be listening and obeying to God, not each other? Things that make you go, Anyways, Marquis Richardson. Marquis Richardson is also an actor. His roles in True Blood, Dear White People. He was in Dear White People? Interesting. Melanie Lee's close friend, who is the one who helped her escape from the Shekinah Church. Melanie also shares a story about his close friendship with Melanie and Felicia when he's growing up. Also reveals that Melanie once invited him to attend one of the worship sessions. Yeah, and we get his point of view. Nothing too much from the brother, but he tells us how Shekinah is crazy, basically. But yeah, that's all the characters, and that's kind of what went down in the docuseries. It was crazy, y'all. The dance world has enough craziness going on. There's a lot of manipulation in the entertainment business. A lot of, you know, what's the word? Gatekeepers into court in order for people to get where they want to get to, and it sucks. And it's not the funnest thing ever in the world, to be honest. Like they always say, don't get in the entertainment industry, and there's a lot of reasons why. And this is just another added reason where you could get lost in some group that can make you lose yourself in the music the moment you want it. And not in a good way. it's it's just alarming that I never thought a dance cult would exist, but be on the lookout for that now, y'all. I mean, I don't know if there's cooking cults and there's ice hockey cults and whatever else cults, but if somebody's trying to force you to do something and taking all your money at that, you might want to check yourself and get out while you still can before you really get possessed. But anyways, y'all, that was my take on the Dancing with the Devil docuseries on Netflix. Check it out. I appreciate y'all joining me. Make sure, as well as always, to subscribe to the DeAndre Way. I really appreciate y'all support coming through for our brother. We'll be back with something else next. So thank you guys. Appreciate support. And until next time, y'all, peace, blessings, and have a wonderful rest of your day.